Self-recognition is the first step of the energy healing process. Once there is suffering, the ability to recognize the area where natural law is violated, whether consciously or unconsciously, doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is getting out of suffering. However, addressing the cause of suffering yields permanent freedom. And addressing the cause requires at least some understanding. Otherwise, one just falls back into old familiar patterns. Violations of natural law come from an imbalanced interaction with nature. Interactions of excess or deficiency reflect in life and the body. Everything that exists comes from divine being. This creation gracefully sustains itself in a state of balance. However, divinity explores the edges of existence. It pushes life to the edge in order to evolve. That means that human experience, as divine expression, pushes towards excess or deficiency in order to fulfill the precepts of existence itself. The edges of experience elicit dynamic growth. A person can only push to the extreme edges of experience as far as the body will allow. The body is the expression of limitations within the field of manifestation. Stress is the overwhelm that leaves impressions, especially on the nervous system. Stress then leads to the need for refinement, so that the particular experience can't overwhelm the body ever again. The more refined the nervous system becomes, the more fine it becomes, the closer it comes to a state of functional balance. The closer the nervous system comes to unifying with the source of creation, which is a field of perfect balance, perfect symmetry, the more stable the body becomes in the face of extreme experiences. This stability and integrated flexibility allow the body to throw off impressions from intense experiences. The intentional support of the soul to heal is a requirement for the nervous system to become finer. The foundation for supporting refinement of the nervous system is the refinement of one's sense of self. Because the sense of self is the foundation upon which all thoughts, words, and actions arise. The actions performed, particularly the placement of attention, are based upon who one is. The power to self-heal comes back to the power to define yourself. In the end, the focus of awareness is spontaneous. Trying to control the flow of awareness is like trying to control a river. Doing so only creates stress upon the land. The good news is that your ability to self-define is utterly within the scope of your potential. There is a bit of art to the process. What might stop a person from defining themselves in terms of truth? What blocks the connection to truth? The biggest blockage is the belief that truth is inherently or personally inaccessible. In fact, you are made of truth. You come from truth. Your life is truth, and you will return to truth. So where is the block? The belief that you and the truth are separate can only take hold in the parts of yourself that have become overwhelmed by experience. It is a self-definition based upon feeling inadequate, incomplete, fallen, disposable, etc. Helpless. These feelings arise at the moments when the body is not able to hold on to the anchor to divine being in the face of overwhelming experience. Experiences that push the body, gross or subtle, to its limits do this. Such a deplorable self-definition comes from seeing the world through the filter of the nervous system that only comprehends a fraction of the universe at any given time. The whole universe coming in at once would certainly overwhelm anyone. However, internal structure that allows in the pertinent information at any moment will support the maintenance of balance. The part of the iceberg of self that breaches the surface of the water is the part to be dealt with. Somewhere in the distant past, the rule was laid down that you can only define yourself based upon the little bits that show up at the surface of this world. Definitions based upon physical appearances, wealth, status, power, creative accomplishments, etc., were considered acceptable, and anything intangible was not. Because 90% or 99.999% was intangible, this means that much of oneself goes unrecognized by this world, by others, and sadly, by one's own self. Clearing this rule from the unconscious and subconscious levels of the mind through to the subcellular programming in the physical cells. Speaking to yourself throughout the long history of the soul, there is no longer a reason to hold on to this belief. You can let it go. The important point here is that you don't have to be aware of all of yourself all of the time. You only need to have access to those aspects of yourself required for evolution at this moment. The 99% continues to exist and thrive, even if it is not surfacing at this moment. All of who you are is held safely in the arms of your own divine nature. No evolution is ever lost. The value of today's healing session is to support the healthiest focus of awareness. It is to heal self-definition so that awareness spontaneously focuses optimally. As your absolute cosmic nature becomes integrated from the subtlest levels of your being to the fully physical level, your ability to draw up the resources for highest health and complete healing becomes second nature. Your ability to see clearly and precisely what needs to change and the adaptations required to fulfill your heart's deepest desire will blossom to their fullest potential. Healing is a moment-by-moment process. It needs attention. The resources for your cosmic self naturally interface with your physical body. These two parts of your nature are establishing an integrated relationship that opens the door for healing to be complete. A lot of this work takes place at night during sleep time. The individual self that stands between these two parts unfolds self-understanding as you navigate through each experience. Individual self orients toward a balanced life so that wisdom grows efficiently. Moment-by-moment choices stay focused on the highest good for the body and cosmic truth. Practically, this doesn't always amount to convenience for the individual self, but it always amounts to the most efficient evolution and healing for the body. Thank you for being with me.